What is going on, everybody? We are back with your inconsistently scheduled programming. Haven't made a video for a few days, kinda taking it easy. But today there was a huge announcement. The core set was announced. Every single card was announced. Some of those come from previous expansions. Some are cards in the Classic and Basic set. They are reworked. Some are brand new cards. And even one was Hall of Fame and it came back, that being a Priest card. So this is not going to be a full review of the core set. There's 200 some odd cards here. It would take forever. Rather, I want to talk about the implications of the core set, why I think it's healthy for the game, and talk about each class a little bit, just like, hey, this class looks like it got a lot of stuff, or not a lot of stuff in some cases, or it just looks kind of meh, and also cards that I think are the most interesting or cards I'm most excited about, those being probably new cards. But regardless, guys, I will be doing a whole rollout with the reviews for the next expansion, as well as some other content. So if you are interested in that, leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into the new core set cards. So the first thing I want to talk about is that the core set seems incredibly well balanced. There are some cards that I am a little unsure why they are still in the core set, though those primarily being Preparation and Shadow Step, as well as Gadget and Auctioneer, which is a neutral card. Let me get down to it. Well, all this loads. Why I think that Shadow Step and Prep are cards that I wasn't expecting to see is I wasn't expecting to see cards that discount below 1. Prep and Shadow Step both do that. Shadow Step more offensively, and I was thinking that Shadow Step wouldn't make it in, so they could make some design space for newer cards. Ten Wheel of the Red Smoke comes to mind. And Gadget and Auctioneer, I was kind of thinking they didn't want players drawing their whole deck and doing combo stuff. That's why they changed the Dragon aspect, specifically Malygos. But the most offensive deck that Gadget and Auctioneer is in right now is Mozaki Mage. And if we go up and look at Mage, give me a second while we get up there. Mage actually did not keep any of its good freezing spells. There's no Frost Nova, Blizzard, or Frostbolt. They just have Cone of Cold. They also lost Sorcerer's Apprentice, and the combination of Sorcerer's Apprentice and the freeze effects all really make Mozaki Mage work a lot better. So maybe without that it won't be as offensive, and maybe Gadget and Auctioneer kind of stays in this space where they want to have combo cards, but necessarily don't want classes to have a lot of access to those cards if they don't have cheap spells. That said, if we look at some other classes, they all have some relatively cheap spells. Druid has 0-cost spells, for example. But maybe it's not as offensive, maybe I'm overthinking it. Besides those cards specifically, everything looks pretty well set up for the next year. And one thing I really like about that is that they've modernized your Classic and Basic, or your core set now, which kind of means to me that these are not going to be the most powerful cards in Standard. Rather, they're going to be the cards that a class can use if they don't get cards they need in an expansion. For example, if Warlock doesn't have healing, that's okay. We have Drain Soul, which actually got buffed from 2 damage to 3 damage. It also, if we don't have a good board clear, we can fall back on Hellfire, for example, which is deal 3 to all characters, but it hurts yourself. These are not meant to be the best cards in any given Standard year. They're meant to be cards that we can fall back on if the classes don't get what they would need to fill that space. For example, if a class doesn't have a lot of early game taunt, we can put a Noyatron in our deck, or a card like Lone Champion, both which kind of fulfill those early game defensive tools. But going back and looking at all of the classes kind of bit by bit, piece by piece, some of my initial impressions are I think Demon Hunter is probably a little more directed now. Cards like Battle Fiend, Satan are really good. They still have some token synergy with cards like Feast of Souls and coordinated strike, but they're not laying into that as much as something like, but their Nostradamus Dragon, whatever it's called, the 9-mana 8/8 that summons things when summons tokens or minions based on how many of your cards die, which is meant to be used in token. But they still have a lot of card draw. They have your Crimson Sigil Runner, your Chaos Strike, and they also Spectral Sight, along with weapons and lifesteal, like Eldrazi Warblades, which is another card I was kind of surprised stayed in the core set. I didn't think that would be a card they'd want to keep in, but they did, so I'm kind of happy it's there. Druid is leaning into more beasts. They still have their ramp mechanics like Wild Growth and Nourish and Innervate, but they're also giving their hero a little more attack with Pounce and Feral Rage, and they do have your tokens still. They have the Treant Generators, your Choose One effects. A friend of mine, Jared, and I were talking on Twitter, and we were kind of thinking that Fandrel, because it just kind of encapsulates the Choose One effects, would be in core, and it wasn't. Instead, we got Cenarius, which is a good card, but Fandrel kind of does the Choose One effects really well. Aside from that, you have some spell synergy, and I really think that these two previous things, the Druid and the Demon Hunter, the core set really defines what Blizzard wants these classes to be in practice rather than just in theory with like a blog post. Going down to Hunter, I think got quite a bit. We still have our legendary Savannah Highmane. If that joke went over your head, you've not been playing Hearthstone long enough. But King Crush did, which is interesting. I was kind of thinking they would make a different legendary just because this card is kind of slow. The interesting thing about Hunter is they didn't put a lot of secrets in. There's only Snake Trap, Explosive Trap, and Freezing Trap. They took out Snipe and Misdirection. Lock and Load is also interesting, but they changed tracking to discover a card instead of look at 3 cards and pick one. And Bear Shark has come back, as well as Dire Frenzy. Both 2 cards I'm really excited are back. 3 mana 4/3 that can't be targeted is awesome, and shuffling beasts into your deck and giving them +3/+3 is also awesome. No Wigglehorn Bow is also kind of weird, which kind of tells me they're leaning a little less into secrets. The thing about the secrets, though, I really like how they are kind of the baseline for what makes up a good Hunter secret, rather than putting something like Wandering Monster or Pressure Plate. These are the baseline secrets. This is what Hunter wants to do. It wants to use its secrets for tempo and board control. Mage, they took out Sorcerer Apprentice, thank God, as well as freeze effects. Getting rid of specifically Frost Nova was interesting to me. I didn't think they would do that, but I guess they felt that it slows up the game too much, and it's not healthy for where they want the game. Of course, we keep Arcane Intellect, and that kind of tells me that draw 2 for 3 is where they want your draw to kind of be at. In theory, other cards do the same thing. Swindle, in theory, is a 3-mana draw 2/2, but because of cards like Preparation and Foxy Fraud, it's not a 3-mana card, it's a 2-mana card or a 0-mana card. Aside from that, Shooting Star, really excited to see that back. Snap Freeze is interesting without a lot of freeze effects. They buffed Cone of Cold, and the secrets here really are more defensive, which I like, and it's not as put secrets on the board and then kind of destroy your opponent with them. Right now, that's kind of where Mage is, but I think, again, these 3 secrets, Counterspell, Ice Barrier, and Mirror Entity, are where they want Mage's secrets. This is the baseline for what makes up a Mage secret. Arcanologist is awesome to see again. Fallen Hero and the Caldera Drake are both hero power buffs, stuff we've seen in the past. Fireball stays, which is awesome. The new legendary, the 5-mana 5/5 spell damage +2, and Death Rattle give a minion this enchantment. I'm not sure if you buff it through something else, if it gives those enchantments too. I saw a thread on Twitter about it, but I didn't dive into it. But I think that card's much healthier than something like Archmage Antonidas, which wasn't healthy because it was only used for combo stuff. That's why I like how they're making the legendaries kind of encapsulate healthy class identity rather than random generation, so that's really nice. Paladin I've seen come out as the winner, and they kind of kept a lot of stuff. Equality is down to 3, which is actually really cool. And their secrets, they have 2 secrets that came back, Avenge and Noble Sacrifice, and then they have Reckoning, which says after a secret, it says a secret after an enemy minion deals 3 damage, destroy it, 3 or more damage. So these tools are very defensive and board centric. Reckoning's a really good secret. So is Avenge. Like, these are really good secrets. They're leaning into the buffs. I wasn't sure they were going to bring secrets back, but it's pretty good. And they didn't lean as heavily into control, though they do have board clears with Equality and Consecration. Eldar Peacekeeper is a great card to have in the core set. And then Righteous Protector. They kind of said every class is going to get a 1-drop that kind of defines what that class wants to do. And a sticky minion that protects the hero is really what Paladin wants. True Silver Champion, I'm surprised to see that back. But I'm glad they put some Silver Hand synergy in the deck. Like, in the core set, like Pursuit of Justice, Equality, and the 5-mana summon 5 1/1s. And then you can even buff your Silverhand Recruits with a card that is not in an expansion, it's just in the core set, that being Pursuit of Justice. I think Paladin came out really well on this. Priest. So Priest is kind of going towards a shadow thing, it looks like. They have a few cards that deal damage to the enemy hero, and like Shadow Ward Spirit. It's the 3 mana 4/3. Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. Holy Nova, so that only deals damage to enemy minions. But a lot of this is board control. They are not really leaning into that aggro Priest like we were kind of hoping, or at least board-centric buffs like the Paladin Priest dual class was saying. Shadow Form deals 2 damage to the enemy hero. I think that this is interesting. I think there's a lot of health buffs, which is the direction they wanted to take it in, and a lot of board controls. Surprised to see Natalie Celine stay as its legendary. I think that this, on its surface, is not as impressive as Paladin, but I do think that it is showing the direction they want to take Priest in, which is a board control deck that buffs healing while doing occasional damage to the hero. They're not going to put enemy hero, they're not going to put stuff like Mind Blast in the deck, because that card, 2 mana deal 5, kind of degenerate and unhealthy. But the higher you tend to go in the mana cost, the worse the card looks. So I don't know, we'll see if Priest stays in this weird void of meh and then getting really good expansion cards, or if the core set is enough to give them a boost in their class identity. Now Rogue has the most cards I'm surprised to see. Preparation, Shadow Step I talked about. Deadly Poison, surprised to see that, especially with Nitro Boost Poison in Standard right now. And Sinister Strike, which is also weird to see, because that card, if that card's in a deck, usually the deck is broken. But it's really nice to see Swashbuckler back. It's really cool to see the stealth mechanic and poisonous, kind of a sneaky rogue with a patient assassin. SI7 should obviously, they buffed Assassinate, which is cool, and to see Tomb Pillager back in Standard is awesome. I don't think it'll be as broken as he was in Mean Streets of Gadsden era. Vanessa Van Cleef, though, I'm glad Edwin is out. That card is was very unhealthy for Standard. But this card is just kind of not great. I don't really love how they replaced it, but they are leaning into the combo mechanic a bit. It'll be interesting to see how combo works without a consistent generator like Whirl Kick Master. Next up, Shaman. Shaman has direction now in their core set. Lightning Bolt is still good. Novice Zapper, 1 mana 2/3, awesome card. I like seeing elemental synergy. I like seeing some totem synergy, even if the totem synergy isn't terribly pushed. Having the 4 mana 4/5, the Far Totem Carver, which gains health for each totem you have, is awesome to see. I like how they have some board-centric token buffs with like Wind Fury and Rockbiter Weapon, and Feral Spear is probably playable in some world now. Mana Tide Totem, surprised I kind of kept it, but At least this class doesn't really have card draw, does it? That's not really a card draw card. That draws 1 and it dies. I would have liked to see something like Lava Burst in here, though. And again, the higher we go up, Doomhammer, I think with the core set, Doomhammer doesn't see a ton of play. Maybe if there's cards around it like there are kind of right now, like Inara and Storm Strike, it's going to see play. Earth Elemental, letting you use 4 mana instead of 3 is flexible. Fire Elemental deals an extra damage, but Elokar the Windlord, 6 health now. I don't think it really matters, but it still has charge. That's pretty cool. Get to probably my favorite class until Demon Hunter came out, which is Warlock. They are really going into the board-centric zoo style, especially early game with cards like Flame Stain, Possessed Lackey, and Tiny Knight of Evil. They are pushing some Discord mechanics like with Lakari Fellhound, which is a great taunt. 3/8. It's a great stat line for 4. Discards your 2 lowest cost cards, and in zoo, that's fine. Really happy that Siegebreaker's out because that card was awful. Enslaved Fellord is a really cool, well-designed 7 mana card that is defensive with really good stats. All in all, though, I think unlike a lot of classes, these cards are like the baseline for what they want Warlock to be doing. They want to give, if they're going to not give a early board clear, there's Hellfire. If they don't want to give them too much life gain, there's Drain Soul. Be interested to see how many discard mechanics they decide to push with Tiny Knight of Evil. Right now, there's only Wicked Whispers and Nightshade Matron after rotation, so I'm interested to see that. Siphon Soul at 5, kind of happy about that. Twisting Others Bag, and Jiraxis is a hero card. I don't know what his hero power is. I've seen it as still summon 6/6s, but I don't know for sure. But he still equips a 3/8 Blood Fury, which is awesome. And last we get to Warrior. Warrior looks weird to me. If you were to ask me what is my least excited one, it's Warrior. I've heard a lot of people say Warrior looks good. The Bloodsail deckhand, their 1-drop they got, does look really good, especially because you can tempo it out right with Fiery War Axe. But aside from that, I'm glad they kept Brawl. I'm glad Grom is still in the core set, though without Skipper and Inner Rage or Battle Rage, I don't know if he'll see much play. Armorsmith stays in, but it's not as offensive without Risky Skipper. And Warsong Commander, it can see play again. It gives minions rush. It doesn't just do nothing. I don't know. I'm interested to see what they give Warrior. Warrior looks to me to be the weakest, unless I'm just not seeing the lines. It looks like subpar in Rage, subpar armor gain, and absolutely no card draw. There's no card draw in this class's in this class. Oh no, there is. There's Slam, and no one plays Slam, so it's interesting. Now, I'm not going to go over all the neutrals. I think the neutrals, like I've said before, consistently throughout this video, are a really good baseline for what Blizzard wants. Legendaries that cost 6 mana should be similar to Kane Bloodhoof. They should 7/7 Barongeddon. And this is just kind of like where they want. They don't want us to put like every legendary that we get for free into our decks. They want them to be situational. They want us to be the baseline of standard play. And if these cards see play, that's awesome. If they don't, that means there's better options, which is good. I do want to note that they are moving away from Charge, giving Stone Tusk Boar and Beluga Warrior Rush, which is great. And aside from that, we'll work our way back about cards I'm excited about. There aren't. I say there aren't too many. That would makes it seem like I'm just not excited. It's more of there's not what I want to talk about that I probably haven't already. I'm excited for Deathwing. I think that not making it all in is really, really nice. And just making it, if there's only one, you only have to discard one, which is awesome. I think that's much more flexible, and a control deck in the late game will want to use that. This guy right here, which is a Ford Ring. I don't think it's Tyrion Ford Ring. It's a little zoomed out. I can't see very well. I'm sorry. But taunt with Divine Shield, Death Rattle, draw the highest cost minion in your deck. is really cool. I really like that mechanic. And I think it's good that that is in the core set for players to use. I was surprised to see Baron Rivendell trigger your Death Rattle main share twice. I'm not sure how many good Death Rattles there are in the core set, but there are decks that wants to fit into. And just because it's right next to it, 4 mana Big Game Hunter is just really nice to have. I'm surprised they put a Can Attack mini in the core set too, like Humongous Razor Maw. Going back to Warrior, I'm happy Grom is still in the core set. I hope there's some way to play in Rage Warrior. If not, I'll be a little sad. I'm interested to see where Warrior goes more than anything, more than to theorycraft something right now with the half of the year of expansions and a core set. We'll see what the 4-set meta brings for Warrior. It's losing a lot. Warlock. Definitely happy to see this Lord Jirax is back. Aside from that, I'm just happy Drain Soul is playable and deals damage. I gotta check real quick. Yeah, Blood Mage Thanos is in the core set, so we can combo that, and that's a heal 4 for 4. That's not bad. Mortal Coil, I'm glad it's back in the set. Also for Shaman, give me Zappy Boy. Novice Zapper, want to play with that card. Also happy that Tidal Wave Shaman does have some sort of healing in the core set as well. I wish there was a better way to interact with the Overload mechanic than what they've given us now. For Rogue, scared of it because of cards like Preparation and Shadow Step, Sinister Strike, and Deadly Poison. But I am happy that Tomb Pillager's back, and a 2/5 Assassin Blade seems interesting to me. I don't know. For Priest, I'm excited to see how they flesh out the Shadow Priest more than anything. Especially the cards like the Spirit and Shadow Form. There's another card that excited me too. Can't think of it right now, but oh yeah, the Thrive in the Shadows. Discover a spell in your deck. Priest, I'd like to see some more board-centric Priest, which doesn't look like they gave it to us in the core expansion, unfortunately. For Paladin, I don't know. I think that Libram Paladin's still going to be good. And I am thinking in terms of current expansion. I'm not sure how much of this fits in with what Libram Paladin wants to do. Maybe the 1-drop gets put in the Righteous Protector. We'll see. This doesn't have any card draw in it, does it? No, there's no card draw in the Paladin core set, which is a bit bizarre. As for Mage, I really want to play with this new Legendary. This new Legendary looks awesome. And I want spell damage. Mage still be good. It did lose deal 3 damage with Frostbolt. So maybe they get another direct burn spell, but I don't know. I don't think I want to run an Apex Blast. Also, the lack of spell damage minions is interesting. Focusing on hero power damage is pretty cool with Fallen Hero and Caldera Drake. So we'll have to see where Mage goes, but I'm really excited for the new Legendary. I'm glad that spell damage is kind of being toned down a bit and more the spell type. And I'll talk about that more in the reviews when they come out as we get more cards. For Hunter, I like the tracking is now just Discover. That's probably like the most, that's just Discover a card in your deck just seems better than decide what you draw based on 3 cards and then discard the other 2. For Druid, I'm not really excited about much in Druid. I don't play a lot of Druid, and this just doesn't seem that interesting to me. I'm always happy to see where they go with it and play Druid if it's fun. But right now, out of these, I'm sorry. But we get to my favorite cards, Demon Hunter. I love Demon Hunter cards, man. This Kovas Bloodthorn, awesome. Charge lifesteal after you play a card with Outcast. Does not have to be outcasted. Return this to your hand. I love it. That's such a good design. And the Bloodthorn makes me kind of wish that other cards like the legendaries that they made were more like this, or like the Mage one where it's a new effect and a modernized effect, or like modernizing old cards like they did with Jiraxes. That would be interesting. Also really excited to have a 5-mana Warglaves back, even if it did lose a durability. Don't talk to me or my demon hunting son ever again. I'm excited to play with Demon Hunter. I love Demon Hunter, and it's just fun. These are good cards. Who knew Doomhammer would get good cards? But guys, with that, it's been a bit of a longer video. Thank you for watching. Again, these will be released for free, and I didn't say that initially, but that is awesome for new players and returning players and the core set in general and the health of the game. So I'm really excited to play with these. I think they're dropping sometime around March 22nd-ish, but let me know what you guys think of these cards. What cards are you excited about? And I will see you guys all later. Take it easy. Remember to like and subscribe, and be good to each other.